I haven't even looked in the mirror.
You're
Are you
fine.
sure?
Nothing
Because you
changed.
say that and then dribbling into my chin.
No, but of course. Just do that then. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Nothing changed in the last half an hour.
Oh dear.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
Happy?
yeah.
Sure.
Ready? Hold on, guys. Literally.
Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Afia
And I'm Rajan.
and today we're going to be talking about how to tell your parents about your interracial relationship.
Yes.
It's a bit of a tongue twister. How to tell your parents about an interracial relationship.
I was waiting for you to mess up as well.
Really?
Yeah, because
I did it right. Yeah, you're going to mess up. No, actually, I did it right. Yeah.
You did it very good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you smashed
Thanks, babe.
it. Okay, because why do we want to talk about this?
Oh,
Why do you want to talk about it?
well, we are in an interracial marriage and an interracial relationship.
Yeah.
And we had to go through the whole telling the parents, parents not agreeing
Yeah.
with our union. And I wish that we had a video like this
Yeah.
to
I didn't even
look
think about
at
that.
for guidance. So,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
yeah, that would have been great. Like, so why not make this video to help other people in the same situation that
Yeah.
we were in? So,
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
do get people reaching out as well.
yeah,
You know,
we do, which is great.
which is really good.
Yeah.
I think this video would be really good, like,
Yeah.
you know, as you were saying,
Yeah,
you know,
it will.
if we didn't have that, let's give it to somebody else,
Exactly, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you want to start it off?
Right.
Okay, oh, sorry, no, go
Oh,
on.
no, you carry on.
No, I asked you a question.
Oh, right. Okay. So, how to tell your parents? I think it goes back to, you know, relationship advice. You have to really want it and you have to really be very strong about your relationship, be very passionate about it.
Right.
You have to be, especially if you know you've got parents that aren't
On board.
they're not going to be on board. They're not going to agree with your relationship. They might give you grief. So you both have to be willing and really wanting to do it and willing to go through the ups and the downs, the
Yeah.
good and the bad, the
Yeah.
ugly times
Yeah.
to want to be together. So I think you've just got to
Stand your ground.
stand your ground and be very strong with it and strong-minded.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's so many factors involved, right?
Yeah.
Because you can be strong-minded. I don't know what it is, because I feel like, you know, you're right. They need to want it
Yeah.
badly together.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you're surrounded by your parents, so say it's an Indian girl,
Right.
or Indian boy, whatever,
Okay.
living, you know, with the parents,
Right.
and then he or she tells the parents, this is, you know, my situation. They can really influence you to the point where they can turn, you know, so you turn your back on your partner,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, and then they really break you,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say about that? What's the best way to tackle that?
I think you just have to have a strong mindset. You have to be, because you can't let your parents or people around you like infiltrate your mind. Because if you do that, if there's any weakness there and any doubts in your heart, it's not going to work.
No. I agree.
It's just
I agree.
not going to work.
I agree.
And I think when it comes back to me and you, you were very strong in your ground. You knew that there was going to be backlash. You were ready for it, but you knew that you wanted to be with me.
Okay, that made me think. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That made me think.
Yeah.
Before, like, I think the advice should be before telling your parents,
Yeah.
right? The couple really needs to sit down and be like, what do you want out of this relationship? How far are you willing to go?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's no point in putting, if you know it's not going to be an easy ride,
Yeah.
there's no point going through it
Yeah.
if you're going to back out.
Yes.
You know that
Yeah,
we
no
saw
point.
a interracial couple. I'm not going to say the name, but we saw in one of the videos, right?
Oh yes.
So in one of the videos, it was like, I think the couple were having a hard time, and then she asked the husband, "Would you divorce me if your mom said to?" kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, right. And we were both like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
when,
I
you, when,
know.
when you heard the answer.
Yeah, I know.
So he was like, I love you, I love you and stuff. But I also love my mom, so my mom first.
I couldn't believe that.
I was like, what?
I was like, are you taking the absolute piss? I'm sorry.
Mm.
What is that about? No. I was really shocked when I saw that video because I thought, yeah. I thought there's cracks there.
Yeah.
It's not going to.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, I saw it from.
And then
Yeah.
we were like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Definitely
and
not.
then, but that video turned out to be fairly old. And then
Yeah.
when we tried to see if there's any more updates, we found out that they're broken up.
Yeah. And we weren't surprised.
No, we weren't.
From that reaction and that what he said, his answer was, "I'm sorry, but I'll choose my mom over you." Basically, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew there was no way that was going to work. So
I think that's a big thing,
yeah.
right? Like when you're dating someone, it doesn't even have to be interracial. It could just,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But I think you need to realize that your partner is number one,
Yeah.
because that partner could be the future
Yeah.
mother or father of your
Exactly.
child, if you're planning on having kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's a family member.
Yeah.
But then they don't see it like that.
They don't. And a lot of people tend to forget that.
Yeah.
And they put everybody else first, everybody else's opinions, what other people think. It's like that must be number one.
Yeah.
And then they neglect their partner in the process. And then the relationship breaks down.
And then you were listening to your parents,
Yeah.
who only wanted what they wanted for themselves,
Exactly.
not for you. They say
Exactly.
they wanted for you, but they
Yes.
wanted it for themselves.
Of course.
And then soon they go.
Yeah.
Eventually they pass on.
Yeah.
And you're miserable,
Yeah,
alone,
exactly.
and wishing you had somebody by your side.
Exactly.
And you're 40, 50, whatever.
Yeah.
And wasted all that time trying to please your parents.
Yeah. It's just, I couldn't live like that.
No. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it's not to say, neglect your parents.
No, we're definitely not saying that. No.
But you can have both.
Yes.
But you can say and I feel like if your mom or your dad is making you, I've said this in like one of the
Yeah.
early episodes.
Yeah.
When you're talking to the camera, but we were saying like if someone gives you an ultimatum, that's just wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to what you said in the previous episode, which is commitment.
Yes. You have to have that commitment. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
No.
So,
I think that needs to be in place. Like you
It
need to
does.
know from your partner how far you're willing to go.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's very important.
it's very important. I mean, if we weren't strong and we didn't want to be, we would have ended ages ago. Imagine if you'd listened to what your mom was saying or
Yeah.
I had listened to what my dad was saying.
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, I need to listen to my dad. You do all right, listen, and we wouldn't have this beautiful relationship and marriage that we have now if we'd listened to our parents. We knew what was good for us
Yeah.
in our head and in our heart, and we went with it, and it's been great. It's great. So
What made you feel? Because I don't think you asked me like, when we were like dating and stuff, like how far I'm willing to go and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Why not?
I don't think because I knew.
Because I kept saying.
Yeah, I already knew. I didn't
Okay.
need to ask you that. There was no doubts in my mind that you didn't want to be with me or you didn't want to pursue our relationship to make it blossom into a marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew that.
And that goes back to, again, the last
Yeah.
episode, honesty.
Yes.
Because I was being honest from
Yeah.
get-go. This is what I want.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so that's again very important. Honesty
Yes.
and commitment, going back to the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So interracial. Okay. How should one do it then? How should you break it to the parents? Because that's before like introduction. So how should somebody say to the parents, hey, I'm in this situation?
Maybe you could talk about a friend and say it's a friend. I've got this friend that, you know, the parents might guess that it's you, or they might not. I don't know.
What do you mean? What do you
like
mean?
you could say, I've got this friend who is dating,
Oh, okay.
you know, a black guy or a black woman, and you know, what do you think of that? Or, you know, or maybe bringing that friend over, but like
And said that's
it's just a friend from
right.
wherever, sort of thing.
Yeah,
And then
work
just see
colleague.
how your parents interact with that person.
Okay. And if the person is scared of the parents because they fear that they could be disowned, because that happens in Indian community, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
where they could be disowned, or if they fear that, you know, it's gonna cause havoc and everything's gonna go upside down. What do you think the person should do? I already got an answer, but
Okay, you tell me.
okay. So it sounds weird, but I'd say make sure you have enough saving. If something goes like terribly wrong,
Yeah.
you could crash out your partners. If that is not feasible, but you have enough savings.
Right.
If you don't have saving, then make sure you have saving or something, backup plan, right? And then I feel like even further, you need to be able to inquire about certain places like to rent and stuff,
Yeah, I know.
just in case
It's
things
that
go
deep.
south.
Yeah, I know. It's that
And be like, all right, cool, I'm gone until you guys figure it out.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you're saying, commitment. You
Yeah,
need to be
exactly.
committed.
You
You
have
can't
to
just
be.
be like,
Yeah.
because you don't want to go through the whole roller coaster of telling your parents and then be like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. No.
You want to win
Oh yeah,
the
no.
case, right?
Exactly.
You want to
Absolutely.
go all the way through.
Of course. Yeah. So I think that's a really good answer. Making sure that you've got a backup plan.
Yeah.
If it all goes terribly wrong,
Yeah.
which it can do.
Yeah.
And we've heard many stories of interracial relationships where it has gone wrong and people have been disowned and they're kicked out of their house and having to run away from home because they fell in love with somebody that their parents did not accept. And it's really sad that this is still happening in 2024,
Yeah.
you know, but I guess it might take generations and on generations for things to change. It might take that for things to slowly move in a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, they say, you know, I've heard people say, well, it's happened where, you know, the couple has a kid and then the parents start coming around again.
Yeah, that can happen.
But it's sad that you have to take that,
It is sad.
you know,
Yeah.
for them to come back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you just have to be fully committed.
You do.
I remember like when I was young, like 13, 14 or something like that. And my uncle said to my dad,
Yeah.
I think I told you this story anyway. My uncle said to my dad, oh yeah, this guy or this girl ran off kind of thing with each other, kind of, they just ran off.
Okay.
Because the parents didn't approve, you know, and they just, you know, just dumped their parents and just ran away.
Right.
And then I was sitting and I was like, oh, that's good. And then my dad's like, oh, so you would do that? And I was like, well, if the parents are accepting and if the couple in love, then hell yeah, just run.
Yeah.
Like, and then my brother butted in and he goes, no, not run away. Like, you know, the thing is, and what he said was right. Like, you know, there is a way to have both.
Yeah.
You know, and parents, not all parents will disown you.
Yeah.
But you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think I knew back then, like, whatever happens with me, I'm going to be committed to my partner.
Yeah. Same.
And so, and that's what people kind of don't realize, like, you have to be committed to your partner
Yeah.
before telling
Exactly.
Your parents about your interracial
Yeah.
situation.
Exactly. You have to be really serious and think, you know what, is this the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life? Is this the
Yeah.
person that I want to marry, have children with? You've got to ask yourself all these serious questions
Yeah.
before you put yourself through an emotional roller coaster, and which it was for us. It was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
It was.
very emotional.
It was.
And, you know,
But the thing is, I think for us, yeah, I told my parents, was it like June? Was it June?
yeah, about June, I think it was like summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah.
And then I was coming to see you every other weekend anyway. And I
Yeah.
said, I'm going to see you, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh-huh.
And then it wasn't long before we started living together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
what if, okay, what about like interracial couple when they do tell their parents like what I'm trying to get at is like if the parents say, all right, that's fine, should they get married or should they try and push it further and say, yeah, and I'm going to live with the partner?
I think they should just maybe push it further.
Why?
I think it's important to push it further and to show your parents that you're committed and to show your parents this is what you want.
But then isn't it by saying, yeah, I'm marrying this partner, a way of saying that instead of living with the person?
I think it's important to live with the person.
Okay, why?
Because, I mean, it's like you don't know, it's not like you don't know one another, but you know each other on a total different level when you live together.
Yeah.
You learn somebody's traits, habits. You know,
It's important to
It's
live
really important
together,
to
right?
live with one another, because I think if you don't live with one another, and then you discover all these things about this person, it's just gonna. I think
Turn sour,
it turns sour
it's
quite
very important
quite quickly.
to live before marriage.
I believe so.
You know,
Yeah.
like I didn't think I would be able to do that, but then when I saw my brother do it, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you hear people like struggling after they get married, and then they buy a house or they buy a
Yeah.
house. Roughly when they're getting married,
Yeah.
they just live in there because they're married now. It's like I just can't fathom why
Yeah.
people would want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, let people live.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like parents but in Indian community, it's like parents do that. It's like you get married first, then you live together, but they don't realize it doesn't work like that here.
Yeah.
It can, but it's just
It can.
too many variables.
Yeah.
You know, back then it's like divorce is an option,
Yeah.
but divorce is definitely an option
Oh
here.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And then you've made the child miserable.
Yeah.
And then they're 40 and then they not always struggle to find somebody. You can always find somebody,
Of
but then
course you can.
you miss that boat where if you're thinking of, starting a family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of
So I feel like
course.
if you want it, you gotta be fully
Yeah.
committed. Savings.
Yes, get your
Move out if
savings
you
up.
need to.
Yes.
Live with your partner.
Yeah.
And then deal with it after. But then at least you got your partner you can live with, be happy with.
Yeah, exactly.
And you gotta know that you can live with that person as well.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
Somehow.
I think that's important. I'm so glad that we lived together first. I'm so happy that we did.
Yeah. I mean, someone said to me
Yeah.
the other day, like, "Oh, how's married life?" I said, "Yeah, I'm loving it."
Yeah.
But it's like, does it feel any different? But then I was like, it doesn't because we're living together anyway.
Exactly.
There's just a certificate, name
Yeah,
change,
exactly.
and the ring.
Yeah, it doesn't feel any different. So
No.
it's nice.
It's nice to
Yeah.
do that.
And I think it really makes you stronger and makes you build on your relationship, living together 1st. You have that solid base,
Yeah.
which I think is important.
Yeah. Not everyone's gonna agree, but
Yeah, of course. Not everyone's going to agree with that. And I think a lot of people, it can work for a lot of people that they get married first and then they move in and it works and everything's
Oh, yeah,
great.
yeah,
it does happen.
it does happen.
Yeah, but
It
we're
does
just saying
happen.
for us personally, we know that living together was
Was the right
very
answer for us.
beneficial for
yeah,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so now we've covered telling your parents. So let's say they're starting to come around. They're like, all right, let's meet the person.
Yeah.
How should they do that? How should they
Well,
introduce?
I know you gave some really good advice to a interracial couple that got in contact with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you gave great advice. So I'll definitely go with
We
what you
both
said.
did.
Well, we both did. I guess we both did.
Yeah,
We did. Yeah.
I mean, we kind of said that, okay, you know, they're nervous, right? They were nervous about because they're going to meet the mom and dad.
Yeah.
But the mom and dad weren't happy, but they're going to meet. So we literally said, okay, just go,
Yeah.
but just put time constraint on it. Just say, look, we're going to come. We
Yeah.
want to see you,
Yeah.
but, you know, we'll come for a little bit. So that makes you feel at ease that it's only going to be for half an hour, 45 minutes. You're not going to stay there for the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you put it out there, because if you leave early, later after not telling them, they're going to be like, that's rude. If you let them know in advance, you will come for half an hour, 45 minutes, then firstly, that kind of breaks the ice. Secondly, you know it's not going to be for long if you're uncomfortable. And if you are comfortable, leave anyway. Because, you know, it's not always going to be the last impression. Your first impression is not always going to be the last impression. Something could change.
Yeah.
So I'd say that just stay for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then go back again another day.
And that's really good advice, because that's basically what we did. Because when I first met
yeah,
your
we did
parents,
that.
I wasn't there long. Do you remember? It was a short
Yeah,
visit.
we're like, we're not doing
Yeah, it was
come over for a bit.
it was just a little bit. I was there, and obviously everybody was there, so it just was great. It was great for me. If it was just, it would have been too intense.
Right. I think what else also helped was my brother, his wife, and the kids.
Exactly.
And you met them, and they were all happy with you.
That was great.
So
yeah,
if you have a sibling that is, or your partner's sibling that is cool with you, then try and have them there.
Yeah.
So the parents can see, oh, you guys are getting on really well. And they can kind of see what life will be like when they're gone.
yes,
That everyone's getting on.
yeah,
It's like, well, why should I hate on this?
yeah, exactly.
You know?
I think it's important to have other people around, other people that obviously know about your relationship, family members, friends. If it's like a get together, a gathering, I think that's a nice way to introduce your partner to your parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching.
Yes, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe again, please. If there's any topic you want us to cover, drop it down in the comments below. If there's anything else you want to, like, if you want to say something, like if you disagree with what we're saying, put it down. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to get offended. It's just like, this is what we do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just have open, honest conversation.
Exactly. We want to create a discussion. We want
Yes.
people to talk and
Yeah,
think
and
it's great.
learn from each other.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
if we're saying something where, like, there's an alternative or better idea,
Yeah.
we can learn from it too, right?
Exactly. Yes. And also share your stories as well in the comments below.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I'm Afia.
I'm Rajan, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.